Good evening, Shuko and Tin Toy fans. This is the Tin Meister, and today we're going to repair the Gescha 559 Auto Fox car. If you're interested in just knowing about the car and how it operates and its description, go to my other video which just talks about the Auto Fox. This is about the repair of that car, and you're welcome to watch this, of course. But the other video is more about its operation and what it does and its capabilities are. Now I'm also going to do a video about the controller for this car, actually the controller for Arnold cars and the Gescha cars, in a separate video, so stay tuned for that one. There's only a cursory review of the controller in this video. Now the Auto Fox car is very similar to the Gescha 6-mobile, which I did a repair video on, so I want you to look at that first because that's a prerequisite for this course. It has a lot more information on it about taking the car apart. This will be just about the inner workings of the Auto Fox car. So let's identify some of the parts and operations of the car before we get started on the repair. Here's the bottom of the car. You can see that the wire comes out the back, and that controls the car. There's the number 559 Auto Fox. That tab in the front will control the steering. So that's all I want to talk about as far as identification of the various components of the car until we get into the inner workings. So first you need to watch the Gescha 6-mobile repair video, and that will tell you how to take the car apart. And we'll get into the repair of the car right now. So again, we're going to start from where we left off, essentially from the 6-mobile, where we've taken the bumpers off and bent up the tabs. And now we're going to take the car apart, the Auto Fox. So here we go. So as we lift the body off the car, we can see it's a little bit more complicated than the 6-mobile. But not too much that we can't handle it. So let's look at the components as we've taken it apart. First of all, this is where the wires enter the car. You got to make sure that that is not all bent up. And next you see where the wire connects to the gear mechanism to make it drive. And there's the slider for the dog. And there's the dog. There is the bellows that makes the dog bark, and there's the chassis, or the bottom plate. Here we are looking at a different view of it, and there's the bellows. And there's the back plate for the bellows. We'll talk about that in a minute. And there's the steering mechanism. And we'll again talk about that in just a short while. And there's the chassis or the bottom plate. So here are a few more views of that chassis and the components. Okay, so let's remove the dog. So here we go. So the dog is attached to this piece of metal here. And sometimes you can just pull it straight off. There's the dog. Sometimes you can just pull it straight off. And sometimes it takes a little bit of persuasion. But if you have an X-Acto knife, you might be able to get in there and clear it out a little bit. You do, then you take two fingers and you pull it off. Now, you don't want to pull off the eyes and the nose and stuff, so make sure you grab it from the back of the dog and pull it straight off. And there it is. Associated with the dog, of course, is the bellows, which makes the dog bark. And there it is. So we want to pull these tabs, or bend these tabs back, I should say. There's the first tab you want to look at. And you got to be careful because this thing is made of wood and essentially paper, so it's very delicate. And there's the other tab that holds it onto the backing plate. And there's the spring. You want to make sure that spring is in place. See the tab and the screwdriver. I'm prying the bellows out. And you may have to bend the tab back, but usually I found you can Just get that screwdriver in and pry it out. Okay, so now you've got it out of the chassis. Take a look at it and make sure there's no holes in it. Make sure that spring is in place. You can see once you get it out that it's a very delicate piece. And once in a while you can find a hole that you can patch to make the dog bark. So here's a little video that you can take a look at. And you can see the scale of the little bellows. You see it's made of wood and cloth or paper. And you might find a little hole like that. Inspect it, see what you can find. Be sure to test it. Squeeze it several times so you can hear that sound. The sound should be like a little woof woof kind of thing. It's not very loud. So once the bellows is off and you've inspected and tested it and repaired it, then you want to go back to the bellows backing plate and straighten out those tabs because they may have been bent during your removal of the bellows. So you want to straighten out that tab and straighten out that tab. And also the tab for the dog. Now we're going to finally inspect, test, and repair the chassis. We're going to first take a look at the wire that comes into the back of the car, the driving wire. And it's in two parts. The wound wire on the outside drives the rear wheels, and then the inner wire, the solid wire, operates the dog. Now, if there are problems with the wire itself, a lot of times those problems occur in the controller. The controller will be handled in another video, so stay tuned for that one. So in this view, you can see the solid wire for the dog. You need your controller to try that out and make sure it operates smoothly. And here are also the gears that are driven by the wound wire. Another thing you want to look out for is the flatness of the rear end and where the drive wheels are. Sometimes they get decambered, as we say in the Porsche world, and they get crushed. And so therefore you want to make sure that these axles are straight across, where the blue circle and the yellow circle are. Make sure those are flat. If you're lucky, you can just bend those tabs straight and the axles will become straight across. If not, we have to take another part off the car. And that part is this inspection plate, or access plate, where it says AutoFox 559. We'll bend up those tabs. So those are the 4 tabs that hold the access plate on. And once you have them straightened out, you'll be able to take that plate off, and you'll have access to the 4 tabs that hold the part with the drive gears and the rear axles. Once that's off, you can adjust those axles to be straight across. So now let's straighten up those tabs so when we put the car back together, it goes together easily. So we'll do a little video here where you can look down or sight down the chassis and see if the axles are flat. So there you go. So it's pretty flat. That looks pretty good. But we'll make it better by using some duckbill pliers and squeezing those tabs that hold the axles in place. So excuse my fumbling around here, but I find it difficult sometimes to work on the toys in front of the camera because the camera can get in between me and the work and it's hard to see what's going on. So please excuse my fumbling. So we want to test the car again. There's the gear, we want to try that. And then the wheels need to turn easily. And you'll notice that I've removed the control wire from this car. Make it easier for us to work on it and to see what's going on. So now let's take a look at the controls for the dog's operation. So there are a couple of components here we need to look at, and that is this swiveling plate and the wire at the front of the car, the solid wire for the dog. The swiveling plate must be able to rotate freely because it pushes the bellows in and pushes the dog's sliding plate at the same time. So we have to look at where the wire comes underneath the sliding plate, because if it touches the sliding plate, it can cause friction and make it hard to push that wire in. And secondly, it can cause friction on the plate itself, which will make it more difficult to make that slider move and push the dog out the window. Now, if you've already straightened out those rear axles, that should fix this problem. Because if you straighten out those axles it will lower the wire and miss the sliding plate. So now we're going to test the mechanism we just worked on and make sure the swiveling plate works very easily and the slider goes back and forth. Now this shouldn't take much force at all to move that plate back and forth. The hand control doesn't allow much force to be given to that sliding plate, or swiveling plate I should say, and so you have to make sure that this works very easily. So let's look at it from the other side, and there's the slider for the dog, and you can see the swiveling plate. There it is right there. Let's work on the steering mechanism. Try it out a few times, back and forth. And make sure that that little tab in the front is not rubbing too much on the chassis. So let's take a look at those steering components one more time. And we will make sure that all the tabs are straight and all the steering knuckles are not broken and in good shape. And you should oil all these spots that I'm pointing out here. Usually the steering is the least problematic of anything on the Autofox car. So getting towards the conclusion here, you should have watched the video on the Gescha 6-mobile, and it tells you how to remove the rust, how to lubricate it, and all that. So we're going to take a quick look at that for this car now. So hopefully you've watched the video on the repair of the 6-mobile, and it has a very complete rundown on rust removal, cleaning, and lubrication. But a couple of things I want to point out. There's a lot more moving parts on this one, so we want to lubricate all those moving parts. We also want to lubricate the chassis. That's what we're doing here. And we're going to wipe some of that stuff off like we learned in the other video, but we want to protect it from rust in the future, so let's lubricate it. And also we want to take a look at cleaning the interior of the body, because we want to clean it, and we also want to wax it to keep it from rusting. From the interior we could get at the windows where the lady is and the other images are. We could take those out and clean them if we want. But we also want to make sure that the body is straight, and we can look at the other video to find out about the rocker panels and how we make those straight. So there's the interior. Now we want to do the outside of the body. And of course we could take all those little pieces off that are chrome plated, as we found in the other video. Again, I'm using Meguiar's cleaner wax to clean and protect the paint on this car. So after the wax is dried, we wipe it off on both the outside and the inside of the body. Make sure you get all the little nooks and crannies. There you go. And you want to get all the little wax off the car. Sometimes use a paintbrush once it's dried off to get that wax out. Don't forget to clean off the interior of the body and wipe off that extra wax. It's important to do the detail. That's what really catches your eye. And there we are. We're just about done here. So now that the body is all waxed and the chassis is oiled and lubricated and ready to go, we're going to put this car back together again. So all the components have been cleaned and fixed and adjusted, so it's going to be very easy to put it back together and make it run correctly. The only thing we haven't done yet is the controller, and that's coming up. So here are the parts laid out for us to put back together. We want to put the bellows in first, then the dog, and make sure the wire is all connected if we've taken it out. And the rest of it you need to watch the other video, because it'll tell you how to put the bumpers on and complete the project. Now you may need to work on your controller, because a lot of times the control wire is broken inside of it. So I'm going to have a separate video coming up on that. Stay tuned. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Tin Meister's presentation of how to repair your Gescha 559 Autofox car. And again, I have no idea why it has the Autofox car name, because it's really an auto dog. There you go. So from the Tin Meister to all you Shuko and Tin Toy fans out there, have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.